Welcome, welcome to Shelf Defiance. I am your disembodied narrator. We are on chapter 34 of Jurgen, How Emperor Jurgen Fared Infernally. This is, of course, made available by Gutenberg.org. Very grateful that they do the work that they do so I can read these really cool works that I have never read before, even though I struggle with connecting to them. Something I want to start this off with is if Jurgen Tell is being emperor, what is your personal custom tailored hell of success? I don't know how to answer that, so I thought I'd throw that out at the start. All right, let's see how he fares. Now the tale tells how the devils of hell were in one of their churches celebrating Christmas in such manner as the devils observed that day, and how Jurgen came through the trapdoor in the vestry room, and how he saw and wondered over the creatures which inhabited this place. For to him, after the Christmas services came, all such devils as his fathers had foretold, and not in a hair or scale or talent did they differ from the worst that anybody had been able to imagine. Anatomy is hereabouts even more inconsequent than incognite, was Jurgen's first reflection. But the first thing the devils did was to search Jurgen very carefully in order to make sure he was not bringing any water into hell. Now, who may you be that come to us alive in a fine shirt of which we never saw the like before? Asked Dithikin. He had the head of a tiger, but otherwise the appearance of a large bird with shining feathers and 4 feet. His neck was yellow, his body green, and his feet black. It would not be treating honestly with you to deny that I am the Emperor of Numaria, or Numeria, said Jurgen, somewhat advancing his estate. Now spoke Emimon in the form of a thick soot-colored worm going upright upon his tail, which shone like the tail of a glowworm. He had he had no feet, but under his chops were 2 short hands, and upon his back were bristles such as grow upon hedgehogs. So he has like little hands like T-Rex? Okay. But we are rather overrun with emperors, said Amimon doubtfully, and their crimes are a great trouble to us. Were you a very wicked ruler? Never since I became an emperor, replied Jurgen, has any of my subjects uttered one word of complaint against me. So it stands to reason I have nothing very serious with which to reproach myself. Your conscience, then, does not demand that you be punished? My conscience, gentlemen, is too well bred to insist on anything. You, you do not even wish to be tortured? Well, I admit I had expected something of the sort, but nonetheless, I will not make a point of it, said Jurgen handsomely. No, I shall be quite satisfied, even though you do not torture me at all. And then the mob of devils made a great to do over Jurgen. For it is exceedingly good to have at least one unpretentious and undictatorial human being in hell. Nobody as a rule drops in on us, save inordinately proud and conscientious ghosts, whose self-conceit is intolerable and whose demands are outrageous. How can that be? Why, we have to punish them. Of course, they are not properly punished until they are convinced that what is happening to them is just and adequate. And you have no notion what elaborate tortures they insist their exceeding wickedness has merited, as though that which they did or left undone could possibly matter to anybody. And to contrive these torments quite tires us out. But wheretofore is this place called the hell of my fathers? Because your forefathers builded it in dreams. Like that should be built. Okay, let me start that over. I can't get over builded as a word. Okay, because your forefathers builded it in dreams, they told him, out of pride, which led them to believe that what they did was of sufficient importance to merit punishment. Or at least we have heard. But if you want the truth of the matter, you must go to our grandfather at Baratham. I shall go to him then, And do my own grandfathers and all the forefathers that I had in the old time inhabit this great place? All such are born with what they call a conscience come hither, the devil said. Do you think you could persuade them to go elsewhere? For in that event we would be deeply obliged to you. Their self conceit is pitiful, but it is also a nuisance because it prevents our getting any rest. Perhaps I can help you to obtain justice and certainly to attempt to secure justice for you in my imperial duty. But who governs this country? They told him how hell was divided into principalities that had for governors Lucifer and Beelzebub and Belial and Asheroth and Theligton, but that over all these was grandfather Satan, who lived in the Black House at Barathum. Well, I prefer, says Jurgen, to deal directly with your principal, especially if he can explain the polity of this insane and murky country. Do some of you conduct me to him in such state as becomes an emperor? So Canagosta fetched a wheelbarrow, and Jurgen got into it, and Canagosta trundled him away. Canagosta was something like an ox, but rather more like a cat, and his hair was curly. And as they came through Chorazima, a very uncomfortable place where the damned abide in torment, who should Jurgen see but his own father, Koth, the son of Smoit and Steinvor, standing there chewing his long moustache in the midst of an especially tall flame. Do you stop now for a moment, says Jurgen to his escort. Oh, but this is the most vexatious part in all hell, cried Canagosta, and a person whom there is absolutely no pleasing. Nobody knows that better than I, says Jurgen. And Jurgen civilly bade his father good day. But Koth did not recognize this spruce young emperor of Numeria, who went about hell in a wheelbarrow. You do not know me then, says Jurgen. How should I know you when I never saw you before? Replied Koth irritably. And Jurgen did not argue the point, for he knew that he and his father could never agree about anything. So Jurgen kept silent for that time, and Canagosta wheeled him through the great twilight, descending always deeper and yet deeper into the lowlands of hell until they came to Barathum. Oh, I was hoping there was more to that chapter. All right, well, that's the end of chapter 34. Now I'm curious about what's going to happen. I was not expecting that from the devils. That's quite lovely, actually, that it's a self-ascribed situation, that the devils are not happy about it and don't want any part of it. It's just that we've demanded that this be what happens. So, all right, you let me know. Do you think this is a tragedy or a fantastic joke on Jurgen, that it's really just the making of the minds of others? I thought that was lovely. Thought it was a pretty good joke. All right, well, that's the end of chapter 34. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.